Hey everybody, this is John Hope Bryant, and I'm live here from Atlanta, talking about the good fight. Um, a brother made this shirt. Actually, he has a line. It's David Merritt. He doesn't know I'm doing this. To give him some love. The Merritt Good, young African American entrepreneur in Detroit, Michigan, a city that's coming back. We're trying to help with that at Operation Hope, getting the city to come back. Right, this is a young black man who's doing it right, raising his family, taking care of his responsibilities, getting an education, being positive, and producing something that's meaningful and cool. Right. So you want to support something, you support him. Like my guy Ryan Taylor, I wear his suits with Drill Clothing. This is what Operation Hope does. Right. But let me get into why this is meaningful to this conversation. I wrote a book called Love Leadership: The New Way of Leading a Fear-Based World. That was probably 8 years before its time, because we need to have that conversation right now. What's going on in these presidential debates, if you want to call them debates, is uncontrollably, undeniably, overwhelmingly embarrassing, and it speaks to where we are, in our level of hope. So there's two things in the world. Let me get this out here right now. There's love and there's fear, and what you don't love, you fear. And most of our so-called leaders today are leading by fear. So I like to not pick on Donald Trump, but he just makes it so easy. I've had dinner with the guy. I've met the guy. I've read one of his books. That's actually a decent book. He's a smart guy. But so is Hitler. So was Mussolini. So was Osama bin Laden. God's not going to deny you your brilliance, right? You can live with your gift or through your gift. You can curse the darkness or you can light a candle. He's not going to deny you your brilliance. There are brilliant people. Al Capone was brilliant. Okay? He got killed, but he was brilliant. Hitler had a brilliance. He created the Autobahn. I don't know if you know that. But he died a lonely, confused man that history would rather forget or use as a bad example of leadership. So here's the deal, right? Here's where we are as a nation. This is, if you think about what's going on now, if we hadn't had the global economic crisis of 2009, where everybody lost their jobs and lost their homes, and middle class people took it in the shorts, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. If everybody was doing well economically, Donald Trump wouldn't have this audience that he has right now, who are hooked on fear. He's got the anger party, basically, that he's professing and proposing. He's not coming with any answers. There's no specifics. None. He just says, I'm strong and we're going to win, and these other idiots are doing wrong and I'm going to do it right? And you should fear immigrants, and you should fear all these black people are thugs, and all these Latinos are thugs, and everybody against him is somehow a thug, stupid, or wrong. And this just reminds me of where we were before. So let me give you a piece of history, because we are doomed to repeat it if we don't pay attention. Germany, a great country, got into World War I. They lost it. They had to then pay, but I guess you want to call it reparations, to the world. That de-dignified them. It also broke them economically. The country went into a downward spiral slowly. They were in that downward spiral when a guy named Hitler emerged with this charismatic voice. In 1925, Hitler was jailed as a crackpot, as a nutcase. Jailed in Germany. By 1939, he became the only man in history saluted by name. What changed? People's economics changed. That's what changed. So what used to be your banker or your baker or your shoe repair guy or whatever merchant that you loved now became you Jew. And they start putting swastikas on windows and separating people. And as the economics got bad, his rhetoric amped up, and this little group of nutty people hijacked a good nation. And they killed 6 million people on a bad idea. That's a conservative number, 6 million people. Am I comparing Donald Trump to Hitler? No, he doesn't actually deserve that much intelligence credit. But this is a dangerous thing that we're playing. Donald Trump's not going to be president. That's not the issue. But what is he unleashing, right? He's now talking about, I really wish that we could do what we did 50 years ago and beat somebody up, carry him out in a stretcher. You know what was happening 50 years ago? Do you know what was happening 60 years ago in this country? Do you know what's going on in the South? Look, let me tell you how dumb this is on so many levels. Badness comes from goodness. Badness is failed goodness. So even if this is your business plan, it won't work. Because God comes from love. Light comes from love. Darkness has no definition except for light. Fear has no definition except for goodness, except for love. All things come from love. And you want to think about the leaders who have transformed the world. They're all positive leaders. Jesus Christ, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., name Lincoln. Name the leader that you aspire to, that you want your kids to model. They were all positive leaders. They were about what they were for, not what they were against. I'm going to repeat this. They were positive leaders. They had a vision that included all people. Even Dr. King didn't talk about black people. He said, I'm here to redeem the soul of America. By the way, if you're joining in and you want me to comment, just raise put a comment down here, make a question, and I'll try to respond to it. I'll try to answer the comment in real time. If I don't, I'll answer when we're done. But all these leaders, I repeat, that have changed the world were positive leaders. Mother Teresa, Dr. Dorothy Height. If you don't know all these names, you should look them up. Reverend Leon Sullivan, Ambassador Andrew Young. Even President Bill Clinton, when he's not on the campaign trail with his wife, you think about this. I mean, he hangs around George Bush, his brother from another mother. They're very close. He is trying desperately to bring us all together. Now, these are politics. You get into a fight, you argue, but you can disagree without being disagreeable. You can disagree without being disagreeable. Here's how I live my life. Talk without being offensive. Listen without being defensive. And always leave even your adversary with their dignity. Is that what's happening on this campaign trail? Absolutely not. Is that what's happening with Mr. Trump? Absolutely not. He is just stoking fear. He is promoting anger. He is promoting the most base and negative aspects of all human beings, and it leads nowhere but tragedy. We have been to this rodeo before. It does not last. You may win the battle, but you will lose the war. You meaning those who think that that's a solution. We've got to figure out what we're for in a world that's convinced that they've got to be obsessed with what they're against. We've got to build something. You want to stop a bullet? Van Jones quote, create a job. Best way to stop a bullet is a job. The best way to stop all this anger that's fueling this stuff, right, is to help people find a new way of prosperity. Some people believe that if immigrants didn't come in this country, that somehow that you'd have factories in small towns and everything would be great. No, the factories were going anyway, right? Every economy goes through four models: the agricultural age, the industrial age, the technology age, and the information age. The industrial age was, 2 ages ago, right? So to hold on to that is to hold on literally to a figment of your imagination for the past. And the Hispanics that we keep saying are taking our jobs, we don't want to even do the jobs that most of them are doing. I mean, forget white people not want to do jobs. To be honest, the black people I know don't want to do the jobs. We used to do the jobs, but as we aspired, got more education, we don't want to do it anymore. By the way, that's just human nature. Like you work at Walmart, right? Don't work there for like a lifetime. Go there, do your job, let that be a part of your life, get educated, boom, and go do something else, right? So to think that I'm gonna do another piece on this and really focus on this. This whole nation is made of immigrants. We're all vagabonds, right? We're other than Native American Indians and blacks who got on the wrong boat. Everybody else is an immigrant. If you're a Caucasian watching this, your great-great-grandfather got on a boat, plane, train, came to America and said, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to live the American dream. They were an immigrant, right? The only reason this country is great is because it's filled with immigrants. The only reason we have the largest GDP in the world is because it's filled with immigrants. You don't do business with companies or governments, you do business with people. And you got to have a relationship with people. You have to have a positive relationship with good people. This is the good fight, ladies and gentlemen. Operation Hope's trying to play a role in this good fight. It's the civil rights movement, which I love and which we needed. Now, I was about to say with Dr. King, you thought I missed that point. Dr. King didn't even talk about black people. He said, I'm here to redeem the soul of America from the triple evils of war, racism, and poverty. Even with him, he was raising a vision big enough for everybody. There's more poor whites in America than poor anybody else. I'm just as concerned with whites in rural America as I am with blacks in Detroit, South Central LA, or Vine City in Atlanta. We've got to be concerned with each other. We've got to be dedicated to each other. We've got to fight the good fight because the other fight doesn't last. History has shown over and over and over and over again that nutcases like this will rile up the crowd, get their audience for a moment, and then they're on the history bin. They're gone. They're done, right? You don't do business with governments, companies, or communities. You do business with people. You have to have a positive relationship with people. Nobody wants to do business with a schmuck, right? Why aren't prominent business people coming out for this guy? He says he's a billionaire. We're the billionaires saying this is a great guy. Everybody I know who's got money, and I know billionaires, and I do business with CEOs, all of them write this guy off. Maybe they're afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't normally get political. To me, this is not political. This is about saving America. So Operation Hope is doing our part. We're trying to finish what Frederick Douglass started with Abraham Lincoln, with the Freedmen's Bank, putting in locations in communities across this country to raise credit scores to 700, because nothing changes your life more than God or love, and raise your credit score 120 points. Trying to get people a job, a job, whether you're black, white, red, brown, or yellow, you want to see some more green. Because if you do a class, you get race for free. This whole conversation about race is stupid. I'm going to do a whole piece on how racism is stupid. It makes absolutely no scientific sense. So we are all sort of rearranging the deck chairs in the Titanic here, folks. If you want to argue about good stuff. Argue about the good fight. Argue about things that matter. Join our movement at Operation Hope, or join the Urban League movement, or whatever organization that you love. But do something. Lean your arm against the wheel of change. Make a change. Be part of the change, and live your life in a way that your children will want to emulate. I'm going to drop the mic here because I'm at 11 minutes and 46 seconds. I see there's some good comments here. People have weighed in. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Bridget. So let me say this. Watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible anybody else reads. I'm out. Join the civil rights movement. Join the civil rights movement. Just join a movement that's positive. Civil rights was waged and won in the streets. Civil rights will be waged and won in the suites. We're going to create a movement of Project 5117 offices around this country through Operation Hope to lift this nation up and make us great again in a positive way. And no, I'm not running for president or anything else. I'm just loving my people. That means all of you. Peace out.